Hey, what's up YouTube? Biker Caliente. I'm actually headed out to my property. I'm gonna do some cutting today, and I'm gonna test out some of the tools that I actually picked up. If you guys been keeping up with my channel, I recently purchased the Vevor 6-in-1 multifunctional trimming tool set. It came with the weed eater, an attachment for the Hedge trimmer. It came with an attachment for a brush cutter. It came with an attachment for a pole saw and an extension. And it came with a bunch of other stuff. If you guys missed that video, be sure to check it out. But I'm gonna head over to the property. I'm on my way out there now. I'm going to just be testing out some of the tools that I actually purchased to keep up with the lawn and the upkeep of the lot. So I'm gonna be testing out mainly the brush cutter and the hedge trimmer. Hopefully I'll get an opportunity to test out the pole saw as well, and I'm gonna give you guys an honest review about the product, you know, what I think about it. You know, when you look at a lot of those social media outlets, you see the Vevor products for sale, and they've been pushing this multifunctional 6-in-1 trimmer set. They've been really pushing this thing, and I'm just going to take it out here and put it through the test, and I'm gonna let you guys know what I honestly think about it. A lot of you might not know this, but I've been doing landscaping for years, professionally and personally. So I can tell you if that equipment is good. You know, a lot of times you purchase this stuff and it's not worth it. So it's best to buy the commercial grade trimmers or mowers, depending on what you're going to be using. So with my years of experience, I'll be able to tell you if the product is good or if the product is bad. If it's good for residential or if it's good for commercial, because I've done both. So I'm gonna be heading out to the property and just putting this thing through the test, man. It's gonna be a great way to see how it performs. You know, with these commercials, you see, you know, people showing that they picked up the trimmer tools, but, you know, are they giving an honest review? You know, a lot of times these companies will send you products and they want you to give a review, and you find yourself not really wanting to give a fully honest review, or maybe you leave some things out because you want to leave a good impression on the company that sent you the item. But in that case, you kind of shortchange the viewers that's watching that video to really see what they think about their product. The reason I said that is because the Vevor trimmer set that I'm going to be using today, I paid for it out of my pocket. It was not sent to me. It was not sponsored. I paid for it out of my pocket with my own money. Therefore, I'm gonna give you guys my honest review, and I'm gonna tell you what I really think about the product. I'm gonna let you know what I like about the product. Also, I'm gonna let you know what I dislike about the product. So I want you guys to stay tuned to my channel, and I'm just gonna be giving you guys an honest review of the Vevor 6-in-1 multifunctional trimmer set that I picked up. So as you guys can see, I got a big lot here. Damn! I have a lot to do. So I'm gonna be testing out this product today, putting this thing through the test, and seeing if it's even worth it. So I got a lot to cut, a lot of trimming to do, and the Vevor multifunctional tool is going to let me know if it's worth it. I promise you. I'm gonna park somewhere around up in here. I'm gonna get out, and I have all of the Vevor tools with me, and I'm gonna test them out today. So stay tuned. I'm gonna give you guys my honest review. Okay, so I have the 52cc Vevor weed eater with the attachments. I have my brush cutter, I got the pole saw, and I have the hedge trimmers. So hopefully I get a chance to use all of this today and show you guys how it looks. So I'm gonna get my camera, get everything set up, and I'm just gonna show you guys how this thing performs. So in this portion of the video, I'm going to test out the hedge trimmer attachment. The temperature was about 100 degrees out. It was really, really hot. I was constantly having audio issues. I had my Cardo to record my audio in real time using drone footage, but for some reason my audio kept dropping out. But in this portion of the video, I'm actually taking the Vevor with the hedge trimmer, attempting to cut this area along the side of the property where this ditch runs. Now the grass is tall, the grass is thick. I connected the hedge trimmers because I thought this would be the best way to knock down some of these weeds. Now I will use some different attachments later in this video, but I just want to show you I'm using the hedge trimmer attachment, okay, without the extension. So as you can see, this grass is really, really thick, but right now I'm just trying to clear out this thick brush along this ditch, and my audio keep failing and dropping out with this particular video. So I'm just talking you through what was actually happening while I was using this hedge trimmer. So I connected the hedge trimmer and I just use it just to knock down this tall, thick brush. And this stuff is really thick, but the hedge trimmers is actually doing a real good job. One of the things that I noticed about this hedge trimmer, the on and off switch is easily right there where you can knock off the switch and shut the weed eater off accidentally. So if there's one of the first disadvantages that I noticed about this particular weed eater is that it has plenty of power, but the off switch is right there by my hand, and I keep bumping the off switch, shutting down the weed eater accidentally. So that's one of the things that I've noticed about this particular weed eater. Also, this thing is not light. If you're not used to running a weed eater, this thing can seem pretty heavy. 52 cc's, it has a lot of power. It's not lacking power, but I keep bumping the off switch. I have the blade angled at an angle where I can easily just move the weed eater right to left while knocking down this heavy grassy area. And the weed eater attachment is actually doing pretty good in this particular area. As you can see, I've been clearing out a lot of this grass, weeds, and this stuff is thick. As you can see, it's not easy at all. But the Vevor 6-in-1 trimmer tool, it's actually working. Now, if I was using this on like some hedges, it probably would just go a lot smoother. But again, I just wanted to test this out in this heavy grassy area along the ditch where this grass is really grown up thick along the side of the property. So I'm just taking the weed eater and moving it right to left with the hedge trimmer attachment to see if it'll actually knock down this heavy grass, and it's doing a pretty good job. The only problem that I ran into is that I actually hit a piece of metal and it made my hedge trimmer tool stop working. It just wouldn't move anymore because it was so much grass growing up around the wire that I couldn't see it. So as you can see, I'm just walking around, moving around, and just knocking down a lot of this thick brush using this hedge trimmer attachment. And again, it's doing really good, other than knocking off the switch to shut down the weed eater accidentally. The only problem I ran into is once I hit that wire, the hedge trimmer attachment stopped working. I'm giving it gas, but as you can see, the blades when I move, it's almost like something is stuck. Stay tuned to my channel I'm going to show you how I actually fix the hedge trimmer attachment that's no longer working. But right now it's doing a pretty good job. Stay tuned for a video on how I fix it. I'm going to shut off and connect up a blade and try the second attachment. I'm going to use the brush cutter or the blade. Here we go.
It was at this moment that he knew.
I tell you what, this is some tough work, but the Vevor 6-in-1 weed trimmer is doing a pretty good job. I can think of a few things that I need to, that it needs to make it better. But as far as cutting the brush, it's doing pretty good. Once you get it started and get it going, it's doing pretty good. I'm a little bit out of breath, I'm out of shape, but that's all right. I'm getting back in shape. We're gonna go just a little bit farther. I'm hoping I can get down to that light pole right there, and I'll be happy.
Now I'm going to switch out this attachment. I'm going to cut this thing off, and hopefully I can do this in real time. I'm going to switch out the attachment. I'm going to do this in real time. And we're going to see how this other attachment works. This blade that I'm going to put on here actually came with the trimmer. It's black. Okay, it's got 3 blades on there. I'm going to stick this attachment in here. This thing has reverse thread on it. I'm gonna see if I can change this out in real time. A couple of attachments that fail. There's the blade. We're gonna take our new blade, put it on here, just like we put the other one on there. All right, this is the first time that I've done this. I'm gonna crank this thing up. Here we go. Put it to run. All right. Here we go. Just a different blade. Let's see how this goes. Yeah. This is a different blade here that came with the 6-in-1. This is more of a tougher blade. I have the 6-in-1 wide open. Oh, this thing here is a beast. This blade cutter is a beast. Now, it would have been nice if it came with a second blade. Looks like this, but this will work for now. Look how it's just cutting through this brush. The doctor ordered. Look how I'm cutting through this brush. And it's doing a heck of a job. It's called the brush cutter blade. It's a little bit faster than a regular brush cutting blade. Look how it's just through. You know, to be honest with you, this attachment here has been working better than the regular blade that looks like a saw blade, the 40T blade. So this one here, man, I'm gonna leave a link for you guys. If you guys want to pick up one of these blades, I'm gonna give you guys my honest opinion about this Vevor 6-in-1. So we're gonna shut things down for a little bit. I'm gonna take a break.
One of the main reasons that I bought this thing is because I saw the attachment that is used to cut brush. Okay, it actually looks like a circular saw blade, a regular circular saw blade. This particular attachment is a brush cutting blade. So I saw the advertisement online, so I decided to pull the trigger. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you. When I saw this blade online attached to the multifunction trimmer tool, I wanted to pull the trigger because I already have a weed eater. As a matter of fact, I have several weed eaters. So I didn't need a weed eater. I bought it because of the blade attachment that I saw. I thought this would be perfect to cut the thick brush that I have on my property. Okay, so that was why I purchased it. So I pulled the trigger on this thing. One of the first things that I found out that I do not like about this product is this switch here on the top.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
The stop switch, if you push it forward, it cuts the unit off. The problem with that is your hand has a tendency to move forward because this thing is heavy. So naturally it's trying to drop down and it's causing your hand to slide up. When it slides up, it turns off that switch and shuts down the weed eater accidentally when you're not trying to shut the weed eater down. So for me, that's a big problem.
He ain't lying.
So I find myself having to restart this thing over and over again because the stop switch to me is in the wrong place. Another thing I don't like about this product is once you run it for a while and shut it down, once you go to crank it back up, it's hard to start, especially if you have an attachment already on here. Okay, so when you have the attachment hooked on here, it's kind of pulling a load when you're trying to crank it, so it don't want to start. I found that if I could not start it, I have to take the attachment off, crank it up, and then put the attachment back on, which is a big inconvenience. So hard to start. Most, or should I say, commercial weed eaters, when you turn them off, even if they're hot, you can start it right back up without a problem. I noticed on this Vevor, it'll start fine once you run it. But if you shut it down after a few minutes, if you try to crank it up, it's hard to start. So I'm not sure if that's because of the carburetor or because of the load when this thing is all connected. So basically, when I shut it down, I might have to take the attachment off to get it restarted. Maybe. So kind of hard to start. So that's my second gripe that I have about this particular weed eater. My third gripe, it's not really a gripe, but this thing is really kind of heavy, especially if you're not used to using this kind of product. Okay, now I have a steel weed eater, which is a lot lighter. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna grab my steel and just show you what it looks like. So I'm gonna show you a couple of my steel weed eaters that I use. Now this particular steel weed eater, I've had this thing probably 20 years, okay? This thing is a beast, okay? It's a Pro Series, and I could run this thing all day, one hand, okay? If I shut it down and wait 5 minutes, I can fire right back up without a problem. The weight of this thing is way lighter than the Vevor. Okay, if you look at them, in size, this steel is a lot smaller and a lot powerful. This thing here is heavy. I'm actually straining to hold this thing up, and it don't even have the attachment on here. I mean, it's kind of heavy, okay? My steel is a lot lighter. I've had this thing probably 20 years. Okay, here's my newer steel. It's even lighter than the older steel, way lighter than the Vevor. Okay, if you look at them in size, it's smaller. Let me sit this down because it's heavy. And it's a lot lighter, even with everything attached. This would be FS94R, if you want to look it up, FS94R. Okay, so on my steel, if you look at the handle, the stop switch is there, but it's recessed. So if I want to shut this one off, I have to press down on that button. There's no way my hand can accidentally shut this thing off. I literally have to press the stop button down. So I like the design of the steel, okay? You still have that trigger, but you don't accidentally hit that stop button, and it's a lot lighter. So when I compare the steel, when I compare my steel to this Vevor, the Vevor is bigger, is heavier, and that stop button sits at the top and accidentally shuts this thing off. So what's another thing I don't like about this particular Vevor. Another thing I don't like is the adjustment knob. Okay, so I'm gonna find, okay, on the Vevor, when you're gonna add your attachments, you have to pull the pull pin, which I'll talk about that here in a moment, and you have this adjustment knob, okay? One of the things about this adjustment knob I don't like is that you accidentally, if you're not careful, this thing will come out in your hand, okay? And you'll lose the bolt that tightens this thing down, okay? So it's got a little spot here that's recessed for a bolt. To me, that should either be welded in or it needs to be like a nylon nut. It didn't come with that. Now, you can always add one, but the problem that I have is that if that thing ain't tight, even just going down the road in your vehicle, this thing can come out and you lose the nut, okay? The very first time I went to use this thing, it came out in my hand and I lost the nut in the grass, okay? So that's a problem, is this adjustment knob. That needs to either be a nylon nut or it needs to have some thread locker or it needs to be welded in, okay? Because that's a problem. And basically, the way that works is when you connect your attachment by pulling the pull pin, the second step is to tighten down the knob. And it keeps it tight. The only problem is if that knob is loose, if you don't have it connected, you could easily lose that nut that's in there and this thing fall out on the ground and it's hard to find. So if you're out on the job site, that's a problem because now you have no way of tightening down your attachment, okay? So I recommend either getting a nylon nut or put some thread locker on there so it doesn't just freely turn and fall out on your hand. The last thing that really irks me about this product is this pull pin, okay? This pull pin is supposed to be spring loaded, okay? So when you're gonna put your tool in there, you're gonna make sure this is loose. You're gonna pull the pull pin, which it's supposed to be spring loaded, so it actually pulls it back in. So you pull your pin and you put in your tool. The problem that I have with this particular setup is that this pull pin setup is cheaply made. The ring that goes around the pull pin is very thin, so when you go to pull on it, it deforms that ring, okay? So as you can see, my ring is already deformed, and once it deforms, if you're not careful, you can lose that ring, and now you have no way to pull the pin out because it's spring loaded. It pulls it back in. Okay, so you got to make sure that you keep up with that ring, but the ring's deformed because it's so thinly made. Also, the spring in here is cheaply made, and I found that the pull pin will not pull the pin back in because the spring wears out. So in my opinion, this needs to be heavy duty. Okay, it's fine to have a pull pin system, but it needs to be a heavy duty pull pin system. This thing here is cheaply made. I want you guys to stay tuned to my video that I'm gonna be putting up. I'm gonna be correcting this problem. I'm gonna show you how I fixed this. I came up with the perfect fix for this thing. So y'all stay tuned to my fix, okay? But as it stands, out of the box, this thing is a problem because it's cheaply made, okay? The pin deforms, the spring is not holding. As a matter of fact, my spring was sticking out and I couldn't get the tool back in there because of the spring. I had to actually take the spring all the way out. And now I don't have any spring load tension on this pull pin. So that is a problem. This thing can be heavy. It's heavy for a man. for a lady, it can be really, really heavy. So those are some of the things that I found wrong that I do not like about this product. Also, with the Hedge trimmer tool, okay, you can adjust it depending on the angle you need, which is great. One of the problems that I ran into, or a couple of problems that I ran into, one of the bolts, when this thing swivel, you got a little bolt right here, okay? That bolt actually backed out. And it backed out when this thing was in a straight line position like this. And when I tried to move the trimmer, I couldn't move it because the bolt had backed out. So how I fixed that, I had to take some needle nose and I had to take some needle nose pliers. That little bolt right there, I had to take some needle nose pliers while it was in this straight line position. And as you can see, you can't even really get anything in there, but I was able to get my needle nose in there, get that bolt back in, and then I was able to adjust. I was able to turn this Hedge trimmer. I took the bolt out and put some Loctite on it because the bolt had backed out. So that was a problem. Some of the bolts need Loctite on them, okay, because this thing vibrates. Another problem I ran into is that I hit a piece of wire. So, you know, this thing slides with that tall grass. I hit a piece of wire. This thing stopped working instantly. I didn't know what happened. It just stopped working. And I want you guys to stay tuned to my channel. I'm gonna show you how I fixed that problem. Okay, but that was a problem that I ran into, is the blade stopped working. And that was just the first piece of wire I hit. You know, I could normally, on some trimmers, maybe you can dull it, but to make it just stop altogether, even after you move the object that was in the way, it still would move, okay? So that was a problem that I ran into. One of the problems that I was running into is that it was so tight, even when this adjustment knob is loose and the pull pin is pulled out, I'm having a hard time getting the tool back inside of the pole. Now, you do have to line up the spline, okay, but that's not the problem. The problem is that the metal is a little bit too wide. So I highly recommend that if you run into that problem, get some sandpaper, and you're gonna have to kind of sand this down a little bit and make it a little bit smaller, or maybe about 3 inches off the edge. You're gonna maybe 3 inches or so off the edge. Take some sandpaper and just kind of work it down to grind that metal down just enough to make it easy to go inside of the attachment. And I'm just being honest with you, those was some of the problems that I ran into. Again, just stay tuned to my channel. I'm gonna show you guys how to fix that spring that's cheaply made, okay? With that being said, what do I like about this Vevor 6-in-1 multi-tool? What do I really like about it? I mean, I pointed out things that I don't like. What do I like about this particular product? What I like about this particular product was the price. I mean, for everything that you're getting, you really couldn't ask for much more. Case in point, this steel weed eater, I think I paid maybe $500, $500 or $600 for this weed eater at that time, and it's been years ago. I think that steel weed eater there was maybe $300-400. This setup with everything that came with it, I paid less than $200. You know, Vevor offered the coupon codes, free shipping. For the price, you really can't beat it. You're getting a 52cc engine. You're getting a brush cutter blade attached, you know, along with the pole. Okay. They're giving you a blade, so you're getting 2 different blades that you can run to cut brush. you're getting a pole saw attachment, which I've used this thing. It worked pretty good. Okay. You're getting that. You're getting a Hedge trimmer. Okay. And this thing is adjustable. You're getting an additional pole to extend this thing out even longer. Okay. So if you have something that's in a longer spot to reach, you can throw on this pole. That'll give you almost, what, 3 extra feet. So you're getting all of that with this Vevor. So the price, you can't beat it. They giving you a little jug to put fuel in that came with it. They're giving you ear protection that came with it. They're giving you safety glasses that came with it. A funnel, a brush guard. They're giving you a tool kit with a pouch. Got some tools in there. All the tools to work on the multi-tool set. Again, they gave you 2 blades. They gave you a harness that you can put around your chest, you know, to help hold it because it is heavy. They gave you extra weed eater string, and it even came with the weed eater head. I haven't even had a chance to even use this yet. So, I mean, you're getting all of this. I got all of this for about 160 some bucks, whereas my steel cost me $500. Okay, with this particular head to put it on here, and I'm not going to show you here, but all I have to do is take off this blade with that reverse bolt there, put on this weed eater head, and now I can, you know, I got a weed eater. So you're getting a 6-in-1 multi-tool. I got it for under 200 bucks. So when it comes to the price, and this carrying bag. So you got everything that'll go in this carrying bag. If I can do it over again, would I purchase this product? Okay, if I could do it over again, would I purchase this product? And to be honest with you, I would, because you're getting all of these attachments and all of this stuff that came with it, including the carrying case. I spent less than $200. Okay. But however, it does need some improvements, and I do know how to make this better. So y'all stay tuned to my channel. Stay tuned to my channel for that. But it's worth it. So if you've been thinking about it, you've been seeing these commercials online. They got different CCs. I think they got a 33 CC. They may even have a smaller one. I'm not 100% sure, but this one is a 52 CC. So they got several different sizes. I got the biggest one I can get. I think it's a 52 CC. I'm going to include a link where I picked this up, in case you guys want to get this model that I have. But for the price, yes, it's worth it. Is it perfect? No, it's not. And I pointed out here in this video some things that I just don't like about it. But for the price, I can't beat it. If I had to do it over again, I still would make the same purchase. So I hope this video helps some of you guys out. If you guys purchase this thing, be sure to drop it in the comment section and let me know what you thought about it. If you purchase even the smaller one with different attachments, let me know what you thought about it. You know, let me know what you think. So chime in on this video. If you like to support the Caliente YouTube channel, become a member. If you like the video, be sure to click the like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys a little bit later, okay? Out here in the Caliente garage.